Hello everyone, I am Divyanshu Kumar and today I will be discussing Codeforces round 677, division 3, problem A, B, C, D and E. E I was able to solve in the contest, but due to some work I was not able to submit the solution due to my some office work came at that moment only, and then when I submitted it I was a few seconds or a few minutes late. So let's see. Uh, let's go one by one. Right, so the problem A was boring apartments. So in this question it was given that there are apartments ranging from 1 to 10,000, and a guy usually calls all the apartments till someone picks up and then he stops, and how he calls is interesting. So he will pick one number and then go on appending that same number, so like 1 1 1, and so 111, and then 111, then 1111, right? And similarly to 22 222, right? And suppose like this, the guy at 222 picks up the call, right? And then he will not go to 3 4 5 or so, right? And then basically we have to just tell the total number of the buttons pressed or the dial numbers by this guy. Okay, so basically if you see in this to call 1 he used one button, and to call 11 he used 2, and for 111 3 buttons, and similarly for 1111 4, right? And for 2 similarly he used 1 2 3, so total of 16 key presses he did, right? But the point here is, when you are basically given a final house which actually picks the call, suppose it is 333, right? So you can be sure like this guy has already dialed all the combinations possible of 1 and 2 as well, right? So that is nothing but, if you see, everyone will have same number of digits, right? If it is 1, if it is for 1, or if it is for 2, and this total sum is nothing but equal to 10, right? So if you use this 10 and just multiply, right? Okay, if this the guy who picked up this house number is 3, right? So there will be 2 into 10, the this many key presses he has pressed, right? And for 3 we can just use the total sum of digits, right? So suppose this number has 3 digits, so basically this is nothing but 1 plus 2 plus 3, right? And then this, we know this is nothing but n into n plus 1 by 2, right? So yeah, this was pretty easy. So the code is also easy. Basically, you just take the input, and I'm just checking what's the last digit of the number, and I'm just multiplying 10 into that y minus 1. So basically, if it was 3, 2 complete places I have, right? 1 and 2. Similarly, if it was 4, it would be 3 and all so on, right? And then basically we have this. I'm just counting the total number of digits, and then just taking the sum of those digits, like 1 plus 2 plus 3, right? And then just outputting the answer. It was pretty easy, right? And then problem B, yet another bookshelf. In this we were supposed to arrange the all the books together, and 1 means like in this position there is a book, and 0 means there is no book in this present place. And in one move you can move a continuous segment to its right or to its left by one place. Okay, so if it is like this, you can make it 1 0 1 0 in one move, and by selecting this book, this shelf, and then again moving it one left, it is 1 1 0 0, right? So basically then you got the books together, and that's our final aim, right? So if you just observe here carefully, then basically what you need to do is just find the number of zeros in between the ones, and that will be your answer, right? So suppose in this case the most optimal way is to just shift this one here, right? And then you have your desired configuration. Similarly for this one, what is the best way? Best way is we can shift this one here and this one here, right? So basically a 1 plus 2 is 3, right? So in one move I will get this, in another move I will get this, and in one more move I will get this. Okay, so basically a total of 3 moves you can see. So that's nothing but sum of these zeros. And look carefully. Let's say here there were more zeros, right? At the beginning or at the end, then that would not matter, right? Because you are just considering the one section. uh, let's say the books are together anywhere, right? There may be n number of zeros before or after, it does not matter. So just you have to just consider the segment which has ones, right? And so basically you have to just consider this segment, right? How many zeros are there in between the ones, okay? Not the the trailing zeros or the zeros at the starting, okay? So basically for that I just wrote a simple piece of code. So basically the last one is just telling me what is my last position of 1 in the string, and temp is just like inputting like 1 0 what is the sequence, and I'm checking like if temp is 1, then if last one is not equal to -1 and I minus last one is not equal to 1. Why I'm doing this? See, if this is continuous segment, right, then this one would be just adjacent to it, right? Then basically you don't need to consider this. Otherwise, if there is a 0 in between, so last one, if suppose if this position is 1 and there were two zeros, so this position is 2, this position is 3, and this position is 4, right? And you get a 1 at fourth position, and 4 minus 1 is not equal to 1, right? So basically means there was some zeros in between, right? And you can just do like what is the current position minus the last occurrence of 1 minus 1, right? So suppose like 4 minus 1 here is will give you 3, minus 1 will give you 2. So two number of 0 are there in between them, right? So just add them in your result and then just update the last position of 1 and you're good to go. Just output the answer. Yeah. So let's move on to the next question. So this question in this C dominant piranha, in this question it was given that let's say a piranha is called dominant when it can eat its adjacent piranha to its left or right, given that its value is greater than that. So basically suppose like my if the piranha is let's say 3, this can eat the position the piranha with capacity of 2 as well, okay? And then you have to find one dominant piranha which can eat all of the piranhas, okay? And here one more thing was given, when this when any piranha eats any one to its left or right, its capacity increases by +1, okay? So in this question, and then we were given that we don't need to find all the dominant piranhas, we can just find any one of them. So if you look at the problem very carefully, then there is a very good pattern here. So if you just take the maximum capacity piranha, that will always be a dominant piranha, because obviously it can eat any of the piranhas to its left or right, right? And if suppose let's say all piranhas are of equal strength, right, then obviously none of them is dominant because none of them can eat any one of them, okay? And even if we have only one extra here, right, so this guy will become the dominant because this will become 3 after eating this, and this will become 4 after eating this one, and this will become 5 after eating this one. So the 2 is the most dominant piranha here, okay? So similarly, but here what is the corner case here? If you just take the maximum value, let's say that maximum value is accompanied at is present at many places, right? Suppose in this case 5 5 3 2 1, then you don't need to output the first occurrence of the max one. You need to output the occurrence which has a lower value to its left or to its right. So basically once it eats the any smaller fish, it can become more and eat the other values as well. So suppose like 5 eats 3, this will become 6, then 6 can eat even 5, and this is the correct answer, right? So at this position it can eat any of the piranhas here, right? So just consider that corner case when you are outputting the maximum value. So the code is pretty simple. You take the input and you sort them, and if the smallest element is equal to the last element, means all the elements are equal. Why? Let's say you are sorting it 1 1 1, right? If all elements are equal, your first element and last element will be equal. Let's say even if there is a 2 or 3 anything, right? So then basically your smallest and largest will not be equal. Then simply the answer is -1, okay? And if they are not equal, so means basically at least you have two values, right? And then basically what you could do is just check where is the, if the current position is maximum value and its adjacent is not equal to the maximum one, so means like it's ai and ai plus 1, right? So if I plus 1 position is not equal to the equal one, the max one, then you can just output that position and return, right? And why I'm using this bi plus 1 and why not ai? Because in a I already sorted, right? So the order is not necessarily the same, right? So in that the order will change, and I need to output the, the index of the maximum piranha, the most dominant piranha, right? So that's why I am using b here, a secondary storage here, okay? And similarly for I minus 1 I did run one loop extra, so just to be cautious, like if I miss something here, right, which I think I will, because I'm going from 0 to n minus 1, right? And here I'm going to 1 to less than n, okay? So that's why. And let's go to the next problem here, okay? And so this was again an interesting question. District connection. In this we were given that you have n cities, and then you have to output n minus 1 roads, such that all of the all of the cities are interconnected. Means like you can reach any city from any beginning city either directly or indirectly, okay? So that when you hear this concept, like any node is interreachable, just the first thing which should come to your mind is a tree. A tree has all nodes, basically they are interconnected, okay? So basically all nodes are interreachable, but the problem here, it was given that you cannot connect two cities which are having equal values. So suppose this is a wrong configuration, okay? Right? So if you look carefully again at this problem here, again you can have the same sorted elements, and again you can see like if all the elements are equal, obviously you cannot connect them, right? Then your answer will be no. But even if there is one element extra present, you can connect them and your answer will be yes. How so? Again, that is very simple, okay? So let me move on to the next slide. So basically, let's say you have ones, a lot of ones and twos and threes. So what you can do is connect all the nodes with a single one, and just take any of its child and connect all of the remaining ones. By this way, you will form a tree with only two levels, and basically you will be connecting each and every node, right? So basically if you just have two values, you are good to go, right? Like let me take another example here, right? So basically let's say there were now you don't care how many twos are there or how many threes are there, right? You can just connect them to this one node and take any of its child value which is not equal to 1 and connect rest of the ones to this one, right? So basically none of the same value nodes will be interconnected, right? And every node will be interreachable, because this definitely forms a tree, okay, right? And so let's go to the code. The code is again pretty simple, right? I took the same input A and B what I did in the previous question, and again I'm sorting them, and if the first element is equal to the last one, I'm just outputting no, right? I hope you got this from the previous one. Like why I'm doing this, because just like if all elements are same, then the first element and last element after sorting will also be same, okay? Else they will not be same. And let's say there are only two values, right? And so let me just take the first occurrence of the max element, right? Let's say that occurs at position ye. Now I am connecting all the elements to the ye, right? This I am just getting the position of the max element, okay, the max element, and then I am just checking if the element is not a max element, I am just adding it to its child elements, okay? And then basically I am maintaining another vector which I will be just putting to any of the childs here, so that all the yp elements will go directly here, okay? And so and then I'm just checking the one child which has the minimum value. A0 is nothing but the minimum value, and I'm breaking here. So basically this will give me any of these positions which has the minimum one. So why I'm taking the min and max? So as definitely they will be different, right? If they are the first element and the last element, we checked here, like they are definitely different. When they are different, obviously I don't need to worry about mapping the same value elements together, right? And then I'm just outputting all the yp values with y position, right? And then you're good to go. So basically you are just forming a two level tree here, right? And so basically I'm just checking it once and twice, right? So just two checks and you are good to go. Okay, so this was a good question as well. This I could have solved, but some work came and yeah, yeah, but these are excuses in the contest, right? So let's see. In this round dances, I will be giving you a few hints, and then I think you will be able to solve it yourself as well. Let's say, what if you are given that you have n people, you have to uh, divide them into two round dances such that the cyclic combinations remain same. And when you say the first thing that should hit your mind is round table arrangement. Okay, and then if there are n people and you want to make them sit in a round table, right? So basically, the ways of doing that is nothing but n minus 1 factorial here, right? If you know this, you can obviously solve this question, right? So let me just make the mathematical equation for you, right? So let's say in n by 2 ways, you can select n by 2 elements from the n peoples first, and then you can just do n by 2 minus 1 factorial for rearranging the first group, and similarly n by 2 minus 1 factorial again for the second group. So let me just write it the square, and these number of people you will be dividing into two groups, right? So this is nothing but your answer. Okay, I did not submit this in the contest, so I'm not showing you my code, but you can obviously do this in a very good complexity because n here was nothing but 20, right? The max value, and you can just compute this and you're good to go. So I think this was more of a mathematical question, but I was not able to solve it during the contest, due to my timings and all. What can I say? Anyways, yeah. So try solving this question on your own. Try submitting it. I think you will get a good experience, right? The only thing needed to know was how to get a round table arrangement here. And if you can't get this, like how this value came n minus 1 factorial for a round table arrangement for n people, try googling. If you didn't still get, let me know in the comment section. Maybe I will make a video on that, right? What's a round table arrangement? Okay, and in any other questions also, if you have any doubts, do mention them in the comment section below. And yeah, happy coding. Thank you.